Hello, how's it going? So, I want to show how to do a basic delay effect on the Empress ZOIA here. And you can hear what it's going to sound like. This is the kind of proof of concept I built. And don't worry, we're going to run through how to build this. It's actually remarkably similar to the delay effect already built in here, but we are going to rebuild it because, we have to get an understanding of how these simple effects work before we can start building more complex stuff. So that's the goal of this series so far, to show you how these simple effects work and how to build them yourself. First step is to get sound into this thing. So we're going to add in an interface module called audio input. And this will take the sound in from the digitone here into the Empress ZOIA. And then let's go ahead and add in a couple delay lines. The 1 second default is going to be a little too small, so let's go ahead and give it 4 seconds here. And we'll go done. Everything else should be good. And we'll copy that. So shift copy, paste it down below. And then we have our 2 delay line. Alright, so that covers the audio in and also our delay lines. We haven't done any of the hookups between these modules yet, so let's do that now. So adding the audio input into the delay lines is drop dead simple, just like that. So our left audio is going into our left delay, the right audio into our right delay. Now, one thing I wanted to show you before I get into the VCA, you can feed a delay into itself without another module, just like that, right? And then you can control the level of the gain right there. Now, I would do that, but I'm not sure how I can control that level of a gain of a MIDI controller, if that's possible or not. I will look into that. But in this case, I am not going to do that. I am going to use a VCA to control the level of the gain. So let's do the VCA. This is a 1 in and out. Let's change it to a stereo. Done. Cool. And we can hook in, there's our ins for the VCA, so let's hook the left delay into input 1 and then the right delay into input 2, and there we go, left into input 1 and right into input 2. And this is where we're going to control the gain of the VCA, so the gain of the delay. Right now it's basically nothing, and those outs will hook up into the delays eventually here. Okay, so we got our VCA added in, also we have our left audio hooked up into our delay lines now, so let's keep going here. We're starting to put this thing together. Alright, next. Let's go ahead and add in, our audio balancers for our left and right signals. So this is where we're going to do the mixing between the wet and dry signals. So we'll add that in. We need one for the left, and we'll need one for the right as well here. So copy it in there. Awesome. And now we have one for the left. And we'll hook our dry left signal into input 1 on our left audio balancer, and ditto for the right dry signal into audio balance 1 there. And now we'll do the same for the delay lines. We'll drop it into input 2 on the left and right signals. And you can see now we have almost right here. So you can see we have the delay lines going into the VCA, but you'll notice we don't have the from the VCA out to the delay lines yet. Our inputs are good. Our left and right inputs are good. They're going into the balancers and into the delay. So we'll just have to fix the issue with our delay lines not being feedback, which we'll do now. So there we go. The left of the VCA and the right of the VCA is now going into both of those delay lines. So we'll get a feedback effect, which is great. And that is pretty much it. The only thing we're missing is an audio output. So let's go ahead and add that in now. And quite simple. And we can be able to hear the damn thing. So it's off right now. Turn the effect on. Hearing a little bit of something there. Not much yet. So what's wrong? Well, we have hardly any delay time on the delay lines. Like, it might as well be set to 0. So let's crank that up to see if we hear anything. That's the one thing. This is why I'm going to hook it up with a MIDI controller eventually, because I hate using this damn wheel to control the effects. But you can hear the delay now. No feedback on the line, but you'll hear the dry signal and then the wet signal coming in. Just like that. And I gotta do it for both the left and right ear here, sorry. You can see why I'm going to replace these controls. There might be a way to make that wheel faster by holding down something. I'm not sure. But regardless, I hate using it. That's why I always hook the controls up to it. My digitone. Okay. Now you can see what I'm here is I'm going to add feedback to the delay. So basically the VCA, I'm starting to set up that feedback loop with the delay feeding into itself. And then I can mix between the wet and dry signal in each balancer here. This is the left one. And I forgot to show you the right one, but I think you guys get the idea. Basically, the delay effect is done and ready to rock. You could go with this right away, and you basically have a delay effect ready to go here in the Empress ZOIA. But let's go with a couple of add-ons, just quality of life additions here. So you saw how much trouble I was having using the Empress ZOIA before trying to control, the delay times. So what I'm going to do instead of having to spin this wheel on this sucker is add in a couple of MIDI controls, which I can control through my digitone here. So let's go ahead and there's one in there. So you can see I'm using MIDI channel 13, which is what I'll be setting up on my digitone to talk to this guy. And I will just change the colors so I have an idea of which controls are what. And I can copy 1, 2, 3. And you can see I'm using the controller 70, 71, and 72. That's just due to how the digitone works, not so much the Empress ZOIA. So if you're wanting to do something like this, just see which CC message numbers you have freed up on your device for doing this thing. But this is a good configuration for either the digitone or probably even the digitact. So there we go. We got our MIDI controller set up here, and now I will be able to control those from the digitone. Now, of course, they're not hooked up to anything on the ZOIA yet, so let's do that now. So there's my delay time, so I'm going to hook up the 70 to the delay line on the left, and I also got to hook it up to the one on the right too. So it's going to control the delay. If I really wanted to create a cool effect, I could have those independently controlled through two different MIDI messages, but we're just going to use the one here. And now you can see how much faster I can turn that around now instead of using the lot easier to control that than spinning this wheel like crazy. So let's just default it to 0 to give us the full range of control on these delay lines. I'll have to remember to do both the left and right. Won't have to do this anymore now that I got the MIDI control. And now you can see I used the one on the digitone, and it's quite easy to get that delay line range. Which is fun. So much more direct control now over the effect than before. And you can see I spin it on the digitone, it updates the CC value, which then updates the delay time. And so we got the delay time, so that's our done. Let's go ahead and add the feedback now. So we'll hook 71 here. We'll dial that down to 0 just so it defaults there. And we get the full range of controls here. Done. So now I can use the digitone to control the feedback. Whoa, okay. Careful with the feedback. Oh god. But dynamic controls. And then the fun thing about this too is I could use the sequencer on the digitone too to automate these controls, but I won't bother for the time being. The other thing, now I gotta hook in the final one into the mix. So let's hook it up there. Now one thing I forgot to do is I forgot to hook it into the left mix, so you're not going to hear much of an effect. You'll hear a bit of it depending on if you have headphones on or not in your left ear, but I screwed up here. I forgot to connect it to the right mix as well. I will fix that on the patch I'll add to the ZOIA patch site. Yeah, I was a little confused here why I wasn't more impactful in that. That's why, because I hooked it up wrong. I only hooked it up to the left. The audio balancer, pardon me. Now, in the theme of making errors, I made another one when I started developing this. So I wanted to put the logic that we've done so far on page 1 and have page 0 reserved for making a visual effect, but I built all of the logic on page 0. So what I'm doing is I've made a copy of page 0 and I'm pasting it to page 2. So you can see I have the logic on 0 and 2. Now, of course, I wanted to get rid of 0 because I have it on 2. So to do that, it's quite simple. I go to the page list here, I go Shift and Delete. So that's going to get rid of the logic on page 0, which is great because now I have my logic on page 1 now, and I freed up page 0 to be able to put in the visual effects that I want to do, which is awesome. So mistake fixed. And I thought I'd include that just as another kind of tip, because it's nice to be able to copy and paste pages around and know what you're doing. Yeah, so now we got that fixed. Let's go ahead and add some pixels to give this thing a nice visual feel. So you can see in here, as I stumble around the menu, I am looking for the pixel module. And one thing I want to show you here is I make another mistake. Is see how the control is set to CV? I don't want it to be CV, because you're going to see here I click on here for CV and I want to hook it into audio, and it's not going to work, and it's going to take me a couple of minutes that I won't show you to figure out why it's not working. But just be sure that whatever you set your pixel to, whatever you're connecting to, make sure in this case we're trying to set it up to an audio signal, that you actually set up the pixel module to look for an audio signal. So let's change that CV to audio. There we go. now the damn thing is actually going to work. So that's just one thing to be aware of when you're using the pixel, is make sure you set it to CV or audio, whatever the relationship's going to be here. So audio, I've hooked it up to the left input now, and now I can now if I put audio in, you see it make a pixel light up, which is great. So let's go ahead and we're going to fast forward here, and I'm going to set up a nice visual display. So I hope that was useful, basically showing you how to build a delay effect on the Empress ZOIA. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to chuck them down below. It always helps me hearing your feedback and knowing if it was useful or not. I appreciate that, and yeah, I'll keep at this. I'm gonna try to get one more of these done, maybe 2 for the month of February, and we'll see how it goes. Anyways, as always, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you all soon. Have a great day.